Let's talk about an Oscar winning transfer performance. Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. So you've probably all been looking or reading or viewing or watching something in regards to this whole transfer saga between Chelsea, Liverpool and Brighton, and a player in the way of Caicedo. And the reason I thought I'd do a video and I wanted to talk about it is because it's the most bizarre transfer I think I've ever seen. I've never known nothing quite like it. So just a bit of history on the player. Caicedo joined from Brighton last year for about £4.5 million. Had an excellent season, plays in defensive midfield. Was one of the best midfielders in the league last season. That's what the stats say. And at 21 years of age, clubs see him as a long-term dominant midfielder in the league. This is a player who can basically be one of the best players in the league, in the world, for the next 10 years at 21 years of age. And so, well, firstly, Arsenal tried to buy Caicedo in January. Was pushed back several times actually in their efforts, and in the end, Arsenal decided to wait until the summer, which they did, and went for Declan Rice instead of Caicedo. Decided to go for the experienced, homegrown leader in Declan Rice. Chelsea, however, through the months or through the weeks prior to the transfer window opening, and then when the transfer window opened, had discussions with Caicedo, or at least via his agent, etc., and had courted Caicedo, set everything up, put the wheels in place, and then started going through the bidding process. So at this point, we get to which we do a couple of days ago, where it was really a case of Caicedo to Chelsea all transfer windows, more of a case of when rather than if. A bid here, bid there, a little bit more on each bid, a little bit more of a breakdown on each bid, etc. But Brighton kept knocking back and knocking back and knocking back. Then Chelsea went in and done something which may have prompted the whole thing, which was to go for another player, Southampton player, who Liverpool had, similar really to the situation with Chelsea, had spoken, had courted out, had told him how they want him, had made a first bid, had made a second bid, etc., and just was trying to edge up towards the asking price of Southampton. And then Chelsea went in straight away and outbid them. So it's almost like a retaliation, because Liverpool then went and said, well, hang on a minute. And then they went straight in for Caicedo, and they offered 110 million quid. Now, at this moment, to get that right, first, Chelsea's highest bid up until a couple of days ago was about 75 million, 80 million quid, depending on which source you read. And then they offered 100 million quid when Brighton first realised that two clubs were going to be involved. Brighton said, right, you've got a deadline of Thursday evening at the time, midnight, highest bid, that's the winner. Chelsea went in with a £100 million bid for Liverpool, then to go in with a £110 million bid. And this is where it gets strange. So the next morning, Liverpool, they've got the medical book. They're expecting Caicedo to go up, sign a contract, do the medical, all the the formalities of a transfer. But Caicedo stayed in London. His advisors, his agent, has spoken with Chelsea and with various people at Chelsea who said, look, don't go to Liverpool. We still expect to get the deal done. We're gonna be speaking with Brighton. We're gonna try and improve this bid, etc. And so Caicedo said, okay, and he made it very clear to Liverpool that Chelsea were his first choice. So it wasn't an outright no to Liverpool. It was just a, look, Chelsea my first choice. We've been speaking for weeks, if not months. I know the project there. I really want to see what happens there. So I'm not saying no, but let's see if Chelsea can work out a deal first. And if they can't work out a deal with Brighton, then I'll be coming to Liverpool. And as a result, Chelsea have been working overnight and into Saturday morning we are now, and the same thing still stands really, which is Liverpool's bid officially still the highest bid, although Chelsea are putting together a bid and it's going to be in a region reportedly of £115 million. And on top of that, Lavia, the Southampton player that Liverpool had caught up, and Chelsea went in last minute, etc. Chelsea have also apparently are very near to finalising that deal as well. So all of a sudden, Chelsea could end up having both players having Caicedo, and completely under the radar of Liverpool getting Lavia as well. Now, the lesson to be learnt here, and this is why I wanted to talk about this, the lesson to be learnt here for transfers, this is the risk you take when you say, I want a player, and the club says, okay, this is how much you're going to need to pay. If you're not prepared to pay that much, or you're not prepared to have a final take it or leave it offer, you run the risk of another club coming in, because the groundwork's already been laid. The groundwork was laid by Liverpool when they went in with the first offer and Southampton said, no, we want 50 million quid. The groundwork's been laid because all of a sudden every other club now know what Southampton are prepared to offer or to accept for that player. And Liverpool went back I think with 2 or 3 bids. Even Jamie Carragher tweeted and said, look, either you pay what they're asking or walk away and go and find somewhere else. And this is why, in that sense, he was right. And they delayed and so on, and now it very much looks like that Chelsea may have just pinched that deal. On the other side of it, Chelsea the same with Caicedo. If they'd offered 100 million quid 2-3 weeks ago, the deal would be done. He would be a Chelsea player. But they didn't. They didn't until Liverpool went in, and it prompted Chelsea to have to act. So they're going to have to pay 115 million quid to get the player they could have got for 100 million quid had they have bought him 2 or 3 weeks ago. So it is a remarkable and unbelievable transfer saga. And to top it all off, the opening weekend of the Premier League season, Chelsea versus Liverpool. I mean, you couldn't write these scripts up. If I'd wrote this as some sort of storyline script 6 weeks ago, people would be saying, well, what a stupid, far-fetched, like that's ever going to happen. And it has. It's an unbelievable storyline. So, I don't know what you guys think. Let me know what your thoughts are in a comment, but it's a bizarre transfer story, worthy of an Oscar, in my opinion. Worthy of an Oscar. Until the next one, take care, and I'll see you all again soon.